It is August 21st, 2017. This is the Watchman News, and I'm Mike Callahan. With everything going on as of late with statues and the violence that's ensued in different type of rallies and events across the nation, it's still shocking to see this. It really is, in this manner, in this way. I guess I'll dive right into it. This happened down in Texas, apparently. Houston man charged with trying to plant bomb at Confederate statue in Hermann Park. That's crazy. That is absolutely crazy. We'll read the story. I haven't even read it myself as of yet. A Houston man has been charged with trying to plant explosives at the statue of Confederate officer Richard Dowling in Hermann Park, federal officials said Monday. Andrew Schneck, 25, who was released from probation early last year after being convicted in 2015 of storing explosives, was charged in a criminal complaint filed in federal court, acting U.S. Attorney Abe Martinez said in a statement Monday. This is kind of interesting that he was previously charged with a crime involving explosives. Just kind of find that interesting. When confronted Saturday night in the park, he tried to drink some of the liquid explosives but spit it out, officials said. The ranger then asked if he planned to harm the statue, and he said he did because he did not like that guy, according to a sworn statement submitted in federal court by an FBI agent investigating the case. Okay, that is a sworn statement by an FBI agent. Remember that. Schneck was holding two small boxes that included a viable explosive, a timer, wires connected to a homemade detonator, a battery, and an explosive compound, according to the statement. He told law enforcement he had other chemicals at his home on Albans Road near Rice University. Federal authorities said one of the tubes contained nitroglycerin and hexamethylene triperoxide, I've never heard that, diamine. HMTD, a highly explosive compound used as a primary explosive. Nitroglycerin, in its purest form, is a contact explosive. In its undiluted form, nitroglycerin is one of the world's most powerful explosives, according to the statement. Schneck was arrested about 11 p.m. Saturday in the park, a source said, following a day of protests that drew hundreds of people to Sam Houston Park protesting a Spirit of the Confederacy statue. The Saturday event also drew counter-protesters. The details emerged as authorities on Monday evacuated residents near a home owned by Schneck's parents in a neighborhood 6 blocks north of Rice University. Lawyers for Schneck offered few details when reached Monday afternoon. This is an evolving situation with an ongoing investigation, said Philip Hilder, who is representing Schneck and who represented the man in his previous run-in with authorities in 2013. It would be premature to comment at this time since we have not seen the evidence. Residents living on Albans Road between Hazard and Wilton Streets, isn't that interesting, the street names, were urged 10 a.m. to leave their homes according to an emergency alert from the city of Houston. Wait a minute, an emergency alert from the city of Houston. You mean they didn't do it on Twitter? This is the first time I think I recall seeing in recent times that they've actually used the system that they've paid God only knows how much money to install, right? Because they normally tweet, right? As if everybody pays attention to that garbage. Decision was made out of an abundance of caution. We already know when you hear those words, ladies and gentlemen, you know that this was a prepared statement. Okay? Hands down. When you hear the words out of an abundance of caution, go back during the Ebola scare and count how many times you hear them use those words. Those words, by the way, are words that are typically always provided by the Department of Homeland Security. Interesting, huh? Anyway, said Larry Satterwhite, an assistant Houston police chief who oversees the Homeland Security Command. See, it's all right. So I did not read this ahead of time, folks. I did not read this ahead of time. I promise you. I swear on my children, I swear to God, I didn't read this ahead of time. The alert warned residents that disposing of the material could cause loud noises, smoke, and damage to nearby property. Ooh, loud noises and smoke. I wonder if the device was black, too. Was it an assault bomb? See, by the way, at this point, I'm already calling bullshit. And pardon the language, but I'm already calling it. The source of the commotion was a single house at 2025 Albans, according to the Houston Police Department. I want to interject here. I want to say that, patsy is a good word to use here. I would now. I'm not saying that's exactly what it is. I'm not saying that, but the guy was convicted once for crimes involving explosives. Wouldn't that have made the perfect patsy, right? Oh, some people never change, right? Crazy, absolutely crazy. I'm not saying this could be the real deal, but there's several key points here I'm already seeing that I just very suspicious, very suspicious. Investigators were in and out of the house all morning planning stuff. Oh, wait, no, it didn't say that. By 9:15 a.m., FBI agents had set up a blue tent on the front lawn to scare people. Wait, no, it didn't say that either. Presumably to review evidence that was planted there. An agent wheeled a large plastic bin labeled sample collection. I wonder if that was urine or stool. Anyway, toward the roped-off house. And I know, folks, it's probably not funny that I'm cracking jokes with this, but at this point, really, come on. I'll just say it. I wonder if they found his driver's license or passport around the statue. Or his manifesto, right? Now, I haven't read any of this yet, so if we run across that... It's a lot, he said. Oh, wait, no, sorry. I skipped a line there. Satterwhite said significant hazardous materials were found at the home, but didn't say what type they were. I told him not to keep that Jergens lotion. I told him, get rid of that. But no, he had to have the lotion. Anyway, Jen's just giving me that look. It's a lot, he said. There's significant amount of material in them. Some very hazardous materials were found. Now, see, folks, Comet, all right, the cleaner can be considered a hazardous material, all right? Banana peels, right, can be considered a hazardous material. Oh, and by the way, if you listen to the Energy Commission about Fukushima, they'll tell you there's more radiation in a banana naturally than what California is receiving from Fukushima. So that would make bananas like plutonium, right? Anyway, continuing on. Law enforcement agents early Monday said they were planning controlled detonations of the materials, Satterwhite said. The first detonation occurred late Monday afternoon and was heard from blocks away. Satterwhite added that a utility company cut off gas service before the blast. That's probably a good idea. Firefighters also used 3 hoses to dump water on the home before the explosion. Yeah, 2 wouldn't have been enough. I would have went with 3, maybe even 4. Why is that? I don't get it. Anyway, it seems to me like when they write this stuff, and this is one of the reasons I don't write this stuff, because I can't compete with bullshit, okay? And I'm not going to compete with bullshit. And that's what they do. That in order to get people's attention in text, it has to be bullshit. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. If I were to write out the story, it would just contain the facts, and it wouldn't get any attention. It just wouldn't. You know, I wouldn't be putting the fear mongering in there. I wouldn't be putting the distractions in there. 3 hoses. It took 3 hoses to dump water on the home before they exploded it. 3? Yeah, Anyway, continuing again. When asked, oh wait, I might have missed that part too. Yeah, I did. Neither Satterwhite nor FBI officials could confirm, or would confirm, whether a suspect was in custody in connection with the hazardous materials. They also would not address if the scene is related to a possible bomb threat to a Confederate statue in nearby Hermann Park. When asked whether authorities had used robots and hazmat suits, Satterwhite replied, "We've used it all." See that? That's another layer of drama there for you. The assistant police chief said there was no threat to the public outside of the controlled area. Why? Why? Anybody know why? Because they have to provide the illusion that they can keep you safe. That's why they put statements like that in there. This is 110% a scripted statement. And see, I won't go there. "We have this under control," Satterwhite said, adding that authorities are really confident this is contained. The searches Monday followed an all-night enforcement operation led by the FBI. Duran Ogletree, an assistant special agent in charge in the FBI's Houston office, said experts came in from the National Training Center at Quantico, Virginia, as well as other FBI offices in Dallas and New Orleans. "We've been working long hours since Saturday evening," Ogletree said, refusing to share any more information. Vehicles with the FBI, the Houston Police Department, and the Houston Fire Department were in the 2000 block of Albans Monday morning to assist the federal agency. I don't know where I got the word according from. A hazmat unit arrived about 8:30 a.m. Law enforcement personnel wearing shirts included FBI Technical Hazards Response Unit, ooh, more of that drama soup going on there, and FBI Evidence Response Team, ooh, swarmed the block. Wow. I'm sorry, folks, but this is why I do what I do. This is why I do it, and this is why I do it the way I do it. Perfect example. Federal agents have raided 2,025 Albans before. In 2013, a multi-agency team stormed the home owned by Houston art community staple Cecily E. Horton. I guess I pronounced that right. And her husband, Andrew Schneck. Agents also searched a memorial area, homed then owned by the couple, and a condo in Bryan. And it's got the links here. And as always, I'll put the link down in the description of the video. Officials said at the time that the couple's 22-year-old Andrew Cecil Earhart Schneck was the focus of the law enforcement interest. A source initially said that the raid was sparked by chemicals that could be used to make nerve gas or tear gas. After combing, and I don't know what chemicals would go into that. I have no idea, and I'm not going to Google it. So if one of you two don't mind your door getting knocked on and want to Google it and let me know if there's any like common household items in that, feel free. After combing through all three scenes, the FBI found a military-grade explosive called picric acid at the Memorial Area home on Fall River. The following year, the younger Schneck was sentenced to 5 years of probation after pleading guilty in federal court to knowingly storing explosives. In 2016, a judge released him from probation ahead of schedule. Shauna Dunlap, special agent with the Houston office of the FBI, confirmed the agency was leading the operation but also declined to provide further information. The Dowling statue, built in 1905, honors Richard William Dowling, who served as a Civil War lieutenant for the Confederacy. Dowling was a Houston businessman before enlisting. The city named Dowling Street in his honor until changing its name to Emancipation Avenue earlier this year. The statue, made of marble, was the first publicly financed monument in Houston according to the city's website. The debate over its placement has spanned years, though a 1958 Houston Chronicle article acknowledged that there probably are only a few Houstonians who have more than a hazy idea about Dick Dowling's contribution to Texas history. And see, that's the problem. That's the problem. We have already erased the history. If you don't think we have, ask your kids. Ask your kids about things that you were taught in history and see if they know about it. See if they were told about it. I bet they weren't. I bet they weren't. See, they've already erased the history, and they've done that long ago. That's why they're able to do what they're doing today, because the mass amount of people, the mass public, don't have a clue what the Civil War was really fought about. They don't have a clue. They think it was slavery. Why? Because they were told it was slavery. And they were given no other detail. When I went to school, we were told it was slavery. I just happened to have one hell of a good high school teacher that believed in telling us the truth and would not tell us the government-sponsored lies. That's the only reason I know. That is the only reason I know. I wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for that teacher. I'd have been some moron out there watching frickin' TV. Right? But it was because of the things that he said, the words that he said to me, the things he told me to watch out for while you put up with my boring ass. That's the truth of it. That's the truth of it. I'm always, I try to be humble and I try to be on the level with you. And that's my commitment and my promise to you. Let's see. Okay, I already read that one. Shouldn't the city of his adoption revere the memory of such a daring young man and his exploits sufficiently to display the statue and keep it in good repair? A front page piece asked. Noted Houston defense attorney Dick DeGuerin lives near the home where the searches continued Monday. He said a fire captain told him that he and his wife, who has a broken knee, that's important to the story. I thought this was about... Wasn't this about a guy planting explosives at a statue? Well, I'll continue on. I'll repeat that sentence because I don't get it. He said a fire captain told him that he and his wife, who has a broken knee, were among those who should evacuate their home. Folks, most people fall for this type of garbage. Most people get distracted by it. They really do. They just told us to evacuate, and they told us it's pretty bad, DeGuerin said. Well, of course they're in the market of fear. They're always in the market of fear. It's what they do, right? FBI. I'm sure the F stands for fear. He said the law enforcement response Monday was an order of magnitude greater than the response to the hazmat situation at the same house in 2015 or 13. In that instance, DeGuerin said authorities learned that a young man who lives there with his parents had ordered explosive materials over the internet. Now, folks, and I'm not saying, everything about these folks could be true. It could be. I'm not saying it's not. But be very careful, right? Because many people die every year due to dihydrogen monoxide, right? Dihydrogen monoxide. And what's worse than people dying from it every year? Hitler used it, and Stalin used it, and Trump uses dihydrogen monoxide. My God, we all use it. It's water, folks. It's water. Dihydrogen monoxide is water. So be careful when they tell you that it's materials that are dangerous or explosive. Gasoline is explosive. Propane is explosive. Until they specify, don't pay attention to it. And when they specify, make sure you search what it is so some jackass like me aren't using a fancy word for water. Let's see here. Travis Broche, another neighbor, said he wasn't too concerned by the raid. I'm appreciative of law enforcement, said Broche, adding that this investigation has lasted much longer than the 2013 raid. The stuff that I'm seeing into this is pretty nuts. And it seems to be an extremely long article for what happened, doesn't it? It's like, I don't know, they had a lot of time on their hands, I guess. I guess they couldn't see the eclipse well from their angle. Anyway, continuing on, before I make more of an idiot of myself. Let's see. Schneck was let off probation in 2016. At the time, his lawyers noted exemplary character, saying he'd matured and his focus is no longer concentrated on high-risk activities, court documents show. While on probation, he completed a bachelor's at Austin College where he majored in chemistry. He expressed interest. Now, wait, who is it we're talking about? Schneck? Okay, we are talking about Schneck. Okay. Where he majored in chemistry. He expressed interest in attending grad school to study chemical reactions using cutting-edge computer learning software. He adhered to probation stipulations and paid off more than $150,000 in restitution. That's a good chunk of change. Wow. Wonder how he paid it off. Schneck is not a risk to public safety, nor is there a history of violence, his lawyers argued. Interesting, right? One friend who knew Schneck from their years together at Memorial High School in Spring Branch ISD described him as an awkward loner who never had a girlfriend and seemed to struggle with social interactions. You know what that tells me? Tells me he was an intellectual. An intellectual. Intellectual people are odd. Okay? Very odd. I am very odd, and I'm not trying to blow a horn or anything here. But I've never done well in social situations. And one reason why is because I call people out. Right? I don't get into the whole you got the guys and they're talking and they're drinking a few beers and they're talking about how badass they are and all that stuff. I don't want even around it. I don't want to hear it. I don't. That's ignorant. It's ignorant. Every one of us, every last one of us has the same weaknesses when it comes to the human body. So what are you bragging about again? It doesn't make sense. But I'm kind of off my point there. But, you know, intelligent people are very socially awkward. It's a fact. That's just a fact. It's the way it happens. I can't even think of a single friend he had, to be perfectly honest, he said. Now, wait a minute. Back up. Stop the truck, folks. Let's go up a paragraph. One friend who knew Schneck from their years together, that's all you need to know of that. And we skip to the next statement of, I can't even think of a single friend he had. Weren't you his friend? I'm sorry, I just noticed totally contradictory statements like that. He was nicknamed Ace from his initials, like that's important. None of this is surprising, the former classmate added. He seems a bit disconnected from reality. Well, how many people would describe me that way when I'm way more connected than most? During their senior year of high school, according to Schneck's classmate, the awkward teen wrote here we go. What's the word, babe? The awkward teen wrote come on, give it to me. What was it? A manifesto. Ding, 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 ding. We got the manifesto. Now I'm just waiting for the passport or the driver's license by the statue. dedicated to some of the school's popular girls, decrying how their boyfriends treated them and saying he could have done better. You know what? I wonder how many guys, how many awkward guys, whether it be from intelligence or whether it be from upbringing or life experiences, or whatever the case may be, their weight. I mean, 1,000,001 reasons why somebody might feel awkward. In fact, completely normal people, many times when going through high school, feel awkward. Even if they aren't awkward, they feel like they're awkward, okay? But that is something that many people, in fact, I've said things like that when I was younger, because I wasn't Mr. Popular. Surprise. And I've said things like that. I'd look at the women and be like, why does she put up with that, right? Because here I am without someone, and not now, of course, but, I see this guy be a total jerk face. And I knew, believe me, I knew that it was that jerk faceness, so to speak, that is what attracted them. I get that. I understand that. But it still never made sense, and I called it out there, and that's all he did was call out something that's very, very popular, and a popular thought with people that don't have women hanging off of them, and they're calling him out for that? Yeah. After high school graduation in 2010, the two lost touch, and Schneck's classmate didn't hear news of him again until news outlets started reaching out for comment in the aftermath of the 2014 case. A very long, very bullshit story. Think of it what you will, but how many things do you got to call out in one story before it happens, or before you get to it, right? Again, take it for what it's worth. That's sad, folks. It's sad. It's sad. They're coming for our rights. What few pissant rights we have left, because even the ones we think we have left, we don't have. It's an illusion. Absolute illusion. And they're coming for it publicly. Meaning, literally, don't be surprised if you see them burn the original copy of the Constitution on national television. I'm serious here. Don't be surprised. Don't be a damn bit surprised, because we keep letting them move this line. And why? Well, most people don't care, because it's outside of their personal bubble, or at least they think so. Crazy, folks, and this will lead to the book burnings. I promise you, it's happened time and time in history. All you got to do is pick up a book, a history book, and read. That's the recipe. It starts with the statues. Then they'll go after the books. And then they'll go after the thoughts. Crazy.